Hey everyone, Merry Christmas. This is Andrew, your crazy-haired pastor and friend over at Westminster Church. We are in the fourth week of Life with Luke, a series that we are doing as a church, going through the Gospel of Luke together. And so for the next year and a half, we're going to just be taking our time and really studying the life of Jesus and all that means for us. And then in between Sundays, Bob and I, the pastors here, hope to share with you a midweek message just to kind of remind us of where we're at in this story and invite anyone else who might see these to come along and join us in that journey. And so to look back over where we are now, over the past few weeks, we've just been looking at the birth narrative of Jesus. That's how the Gospel of Luke starts, and it's timely as we were entering into Christmas for us to just begin there and to look at the birth of Jesus Christ. Now, it's fascinating to me how God chooses to integrate some different characters into this story than we might expect. And we saw that in our fourth Sunday together last Sunday, December 20th, when we looked at the life of Zechariah and Elizabeth. Now, Zechariah and Elizabeth were a couple of randos for all we know. Like, they really weren't people we would expect to show up in the gospel narrative as all that important, and they don't really show up again after Jesus is born, but they're incredibly important in the story because they are the parents of John the Baptist, John being the man who would proclaim that Jesus was coming, the Messiah God had promised. And so Luke includes the story of Zechariah and Elizabeth. Now, throughout their life, they had had a really deep desire to have a child of their own, but that is something that had not happened for them, and they were now into their old age. And so as Luke tells the story, he shows how God gives them incredible mercy and allows them to give birth to this son, to John, in very old age. And it was a story of God's love, right? God really displayed his love for Zechariah and Elizabeth by allowing this answered prayer to unfold. And the name John even shows that, because the name John in Hebrew, Yohanan, actually meant God gives mercy. See, Zechariah and Elizabeth understood that God loved them deeply, and they wanted to put a public stamp upon that love and to show the rest of the world that an even deeper love was coming through the Savior that had been promised to the world. And that, of course, as we know, to be Jesus. Then at Christmas Eve, Bob preached to us a message a little bit deeper into the story, Mary and Joseph finally sharing the birth of Jesus. And in that story, we see two people of completely different circumstances, people who would have probably been ostracized for having a baby out of wedlock, who were giving birth to a child in a manger, for crying out loud. And in this story, God again just shows how his love was made known to them, his mercies made known to them, and God really does choose to give us his Savior, give us his love, and he does all of that for our good. He is a good God. He loves us deeply. And what's so cool to me about these two stories sitting back to back is that we have Zechariah and Elizabeth of priestly lineage, people who were well-to-do, people who had a community gathered around them, juxtaposed with the story of Mary and Joseph in incredibly humble circumstances, who seem to have a lot going on that could have caused them to be ostracized from the rest of the world. But in both of these narratives, God's love comes down and is made known to these people. And that means something for us today. That means that no matter what circumstances you're in, whether you feel like you're well-to-do, in control, powerful, have everything you need, or whether you're in humble circumstances and maybe just went through one of the toughest Christmases that you ever have, God's love can be known to you.